What's up, everyone? I hope you guys had a fantastic new comic book day and you were able to pick up all the issues you wanted to read this week. So today I'm going to be going over my top 10 books for new comic book day, May 5th, 2021. I picked up 12 different issues this week. Sadly, I'm still waiting on 2 of them in the mail. I was a little bit pickier this week, but stick around to see who claims number 1. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, AR Comics, and today I'm going to be going over my top 10 list for new comic book day, May 5th, 2021. But before I get started on this list, if you are new to the channel, I drop weekly comic book content that'll keep you up to date on all the latest releases. So if you don't want to miss out on that, make sure you hit the subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified. Every time I drop new content, you won't regret it. And now, without further ado, let's get started on this top 10 list. So like I was saying before, I hope you guys had a fantastic new comic book day and you were able to pick up the issues you wanted to read this week. Sadly, I still am waiting on 2 more though from Bad Idea Comics. I don't know, I guess the stores around me still aren't eligible to sell them in store, so I have to order them online. It is what it is, but I would like to have them for new comic book day. But as far as this week goes, I was a lot pickier with which issues I picked up. These last few weeks were very heavy on my wallet, so I took it a little bit lighter. And as always, I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but you guys already know sometimes spoilers do happen. I get excited talking about some of these issues, so just be aware of that. But we have coming in at number 10 this week, this is Image's brand new one, The Good Asian. Issue number 1, this is cover A, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to be picking this one up. Even when I was there today looking through it, I thought, I don't know about this one. It's a crime noir, and I really like that. And I thought the artwork was very good too, but as I was reading through it, I honestly thought it was pretty boring. So this takes place in San Francisco. I believe it's the 1930s in Chinatown. And we really just get to see how the Asian community was treated back in the day. And I thought that's a really good aspect to this story because, we're still kind of dealing with stuff like that today. It kind of took things from the past that we dealt with, and we're seeing that same thing today. So overall, the concept of the story is cool. I like the whole mystery, detective stuff, the crime noir aspect. I thought that was really cool. But I think what just did it into me is honestly, I just thought it was a very boring story. It felt very long. It felt like I was flipping page after page. There was a ton of dialogue. And as far as the artwork goes, it was all right. And there wasn't really a whole lot of action going on in this one. So just to me, it felt like a very long read. Let me know what you thought about this one down low in the comments section because maybe it's just my opinion. Maybe I should reread it, give the second one a shot. But as far as this one goes, coming in at number 10, we have The Good Asian, issue number 1. And next up on the list, we have coming in at number 9 this week. This is Marvel's The Immortal Hulk, issue number 46. This is the Alex Ross cover A. And I don't know what it exactly is about this series anymore, but it is just not doing it for me. As always, I love the artwork. This has been some of the best artwork Marvel's put out in a very long time. I've loved this since the first issue, and I'm sure I'm going to love it until the very final one. But this series overall has just gone so far from what it started off as. It felt like such a horror series in the very beginning, like those first 20 issues maybe. People were scared of the Hulk. He was a monster. People looked at him and it was like a sighting. But then he turned into a celebrity and they went all these other different routes and just arcs that really didn't matter to the overall story. But then we got back on track with the leader and I thought that was going to finally tie everything together. We were going to get a proper ending. And honestly, I don't think this series is going to get a proper ending. Right now, this issue standing alone, I thought it was a pretty decent issue. It was very action packed. The artwork was incredible, but it just, I don't know. It doesn't really have much to do with what's really going on in the grand scheme of things. In my opinion, of course, if you have a different idea on this one, let me know what you think about it down low. But I kind of am happy there's only a few issues left of this one. I haven't really enjoyed it since probably the early 30s issues. So for those reasons, coming in at number 9. And next up on the list, we have coming in at number 8 this week. This is Image's Firepower, issue number 11. This is cover A, and I really like this issue. I thought it was so good. So in the past, I've talked about how I felt this series had some pacing issues. Some issues very action-packed, others very dialogue, plot progression heavy. This one, honestly, I felt like had a very nice mixture of both. In my opinion, this is probably one of my favorite issues from the series so far. So the war is here. The Scorched Earth clan is fighting the Temple of the Flaming Fist, and we basically are just seeing them fighting it out throughout the entire time. But at some point, you see Owen stand up. He's part of the Scorched Earth clan right now, and he's basically just announcing, like, hey, you guys have been following the wrong clan the whole time. I left because I found out they were lying to us. And he's basically just trying to convert them as the war is going on. So I thought that was really cool. And something big happens towards the very end of the issue that I'm definitely not going to be spoiling. I'm going to be sticking to it though, while I'm still going to be picking up the single issues because I'm 11 issues deep. I think this is way better read as a trade paperback because there's not a lot of stuff that happens in some of these issues. So if you can read it all at once, I think it's going to make the story seem a lot better. But for those reasons, we have Firepower 11 coming in at number 8. Next up, we have coming in at number 7 this week. This is Marvel's brand new one, Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha. This is cover A, and honestly, I really wasn't even sure if I was going to be picking this one up this week, but a lot of people were commenting saying it's definitely going to be good, you should check it out. So I thought, you know what, might as well pick it up. Admittedly, though, I am not the biggest of Star Wars fans. I went back to rewatch the movies, I've been reading some of the issues, but overall, I'm just a casual Star Wars fan. So with my opinion on this one, just take it with a grain of salt because my knowledge isn't 100% on this. But as far as this issue goes, it definitely was way better than I was expecting it to be. We have Jango Fett, Boba Fett. It picks up pretty much right where I believe the Empire Strikes Back ends. And we kind of see them both have their own separate plot lines in this one. It's not two separate stories, but two different main characters with their own things happening. And honestly, I thought the story itself was pretty good. Right now, Boba Fett has more of an actual story. Jango Fett was action the entire time. He was in a fighting tournament, and I really can't wait to see where they go with this one. I think they're going to be coming together at some point, and everything's just going to hit the fan. So I'm definitely looking forward to this next issue. If you are going to be getting this one, though, if you check out in the very back, there are going to be a ton of tie-ins to this one. So just be aware of that one as well. But for those reasons, we have Star Wars coming in at number 7. And next up on the list, we've got coming in at number 6 this week. This is Images Deep Beyond, issue number 4. This is cover A, and for those of you reading this, this is also the end of the arc. And surprisingly, I think they did a pretty good job wrapping this one up. I wasn't a huge fan of the first 3 issues. I thought the artwork was great, but as far as the story itself went, it was kind of all over the place in my opinion. It was going in all these different directions. There was a lot of characters and groups that really didn't have too much meaning to the overall story. But as far as ending it goes, I think they did a great job wrapping it up. So this one, we got a little bit more backstory as to how it all happened, and we finally figured out what that anomaly was. And I'm not going to be spoiling it, but I'm really interested to see where they go with this one. In my opinion, I thought this was going to be the last issue I was going to be getting of Deep Beyond, but I'm definitely going to be getting at least the next issue to kind of see where that whole thing leads them. Let me know what you think about this one down low, but for those reasons, we've got Deep Beyond coming in at number 6. And now we're down to the top 5 issues of the week. We have coming in at number 5 this week. This is Marvel's Strange Academy, issue number 10. This is cover A, and it feels like it's been so long since we had a Strange Academy issue. I love this one, but I can totally see why some people really aren't enjoying this series. Because let's be honest, there's not a whole lot of stuff that does happen in these, and it just doesn't have the action that a lot of other Marvel and DC series have. And it's just not an indie story, but it is such a nice feel-good story. So with this issue, all the kids are on a field trip and they're going to Asgard. So like I was just saying, not a whole lot of stuff. The kids are on a field trip. We see them interacting with each other. They get to see some Asgardians. They want to see Thor, but he's not there. We get a little bit of plot buildup, not a whole lot of crazy stuff, but that's all this issue really was. Just a nice story. We're getting back into the swing of things with Strange Academy, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where they build with this one. I just love what they're doing with Emily and all the other characters right now. But for those reasons, we've got Strange Academy 10 coming in at number 5. Next up, we've got coming in at number 4 this week. This is Marvel's brand new one, Heroes Reborn, issue number 1. This is cover A. And if this was a big new comic book day, I honestly probably would have skipped over this, but I'm glad I didn't. I went into this with the mindset thinking it's probably just going to be some overhyped Marvel trash. It's probably going to suck, but it was surprisingly way better than I thought it was going to be. It's written by Jason Aaron, and I like a lot of Jason Aaron's stuff, and the artwork was incredible. But there's not really a whole lot of story going on right now. It basically is exactly the title, Heroes Reborn. The main character is Blade. I don't want to spoil all too much, but they just showcase all these different characters fighting, but they just have different powers at this point. Like Doctor Doom, he's Dr. Juggernaut. Scarlet Witch, for example, has different powers as well. And it's just all this cool stuff happening. It was a ton of action, but like I said, as far as the story went, it was definitely lacking. There are going to be a ton of tie-ins for this one, so be aware of that one as well. I'm definitely going to keep going with this one. I think the story is pretty interesting. I like where they're going with all the characters having different powers right now, but for those reasons, coming in at number 4, let's talk about this one a little bit down low. Next up, we've got coming in at number 3 this week. This is AWA's brand new one. Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal, issue number 1. This is cover A, and this was such a fun read. The artwork I thought was okay. It wasn't too bad, it just wasn't really my thing. But the story itself, while we didn't get a whole lot of plot, I think the concept behind it is so cool. So basically, the main character, she is just a time traveling criminal, travels through different times, basically just to steal jewels and things like that. There's another main character, he's off doing things in the Vikings time. She's back in the Egyptian times right now. And that's all it is. They're killing people, they're doing their thing. But we also have time travel police too. We don't know much about her either, but she's there to pretty much stop them. I'm really excited to see where they go with this series. Like I was saying, there wasn't a whole lot as far as the plot goes, but this is one of AWA's longest series. We've got 8 issues for this one, so I'm really excited to see what Garth Ennis can do with it. But for those reasons, definitely check this one out. Coming in at number 3. And now we're down to the final 2 issues of the week, and honestly, these were pretty hard to put at a 1-2 spot, but we've got coming in at number 2, this is Boom Studios' brand new one, Eve, issue number 1. This is cover A, and man, this was such a fantastic read. I love the story, I love the artwork. They did such a great job with this one, and honestly, I really didn't know what to expect with it because I didn't read any of the descriptions on it, but all I knew is we have this little girl. She seems to be sailing through a rundown, overflooded city with a teddy bear, and I didn't know much else, but man, once they really got into the story, it had a good meaning behind it too. So the whole world has basically come to an end because of climate change, kind of what's really going on right now that nobody cares about, and this is just the product of it. We got a little bit of backstory with Eve, that's the main character right here, and her dad, but then once we get that out of the way, we get shot into the future where everything is basically officially destroyed, and now she has this humanoid teddy bear that has a bunch of info on it, and now her goal is to just go out and try and survive, find other people, and go from there. I think Boom Studios about to kill it with this series. I can't wait to see where they go with this. Easily could have been my number 1, but I've got one other one set up for that one, so for those reasons, coming in at number 2. And here it is, my top read of the week. We've got coming in at number 1 this week. This is Images, Nocterra, issue number 3. This is cover B, and it's not often I get a cover B, but I am loving this series. It is just clicking with me. I know I talk about it all the time, but I definitely get Gears of War vibes with this one, specifically the mission where you have to stay in the light. If you go into the darkness, you're going to get attacked by these monsters, and I don't know, it just brings back some memories playing the game when I was younger, and I'm just loving this series with that. So with this issue, it was very action-packed, very plot driven as well. But one thing about this that really stands out to me are these flashbacks that they do every single issue. I think it's usually 1 or 2 times, but they're progressing these flashbacks as well as progressing the story. And I just have this feeling at some point later in the series, these flashbacks are going to catch a point where they're merging with the actual story itself. And if that happens, I'm just going to be mind blown. But for those reasons, definitely coming in at number 1 this week. I'm a big fan of this series, and I highly recommend it to everyone. But we've got Nocterra, issue number 3. So what do you guys think of this week's new comics? There were a ton of awesome issues coming out this week. I know I could have picked up a lot more, but I was a little bit tighter with my budget because I picked up a ton of issues in these last couple weeks. But let me know down low in the comments section which issue was your favorite this week and which one I should have picked up. So thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my upcoming content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified every time I drop new content. You won't regret it. And I've got 2 more videos sitting off to the side here with more of my comic book content. Click on one of those and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.